Okay. So today's theme is joy, which interestingly enough, are you okay if I pull this down to chat with you? Is like today was a weird day at school. So like it didn't feel very joyful. So I think this will be good about like finding the joy in the little things. And one of the books that I have, like the pose that they associate with joy is called Wild Thing, which, I love that, or Flipped Dog. So I'm just gonna, before we start, I'm gonna show you, and then I'll give you some alternatives that you can choose to do. So I'm trying to think, this is probably better for me to do it this way. But basically, you can just like watch. So when you start in a downward dog, and we'll do lots of warm-ups, like this will be like, it's kind of like the peak pose. But you lift your leg like the three-legged dog, and then you bend it up. And then essentially what's happening is you're turning to the opposite side and planting. So it's almost like a table like this. So you can keep your feet like this, or you can straighten the one leg like this. And then like ultimately you're just stretching out and feeling the side. So you could be with the leg straight or like this. And then you just come back like that. If that does not work for you, then you can do a supported like side or side plank, or you could do a side plank like that. So that'll be kind of like what we're working up to. And it's like finding the joy in that pose. So we're just going to start exactly like you are, cross-legged, and just take some moments to get grounded where we are. You can lightly close your eyes and just start to notice your breath. Don't have to do anything with it. Just get grounded in the space that we are in right now. Starting just to take notice where the ground is meeting your body, where you notice those pressure points on the earth. Maybe where you notice a little bit of pain or ache from the day, and just send some breath there. So for instance, for me, my lower back I'm noticing a little bit. So I'm just gonna send my breath lovingly to my lower back. You can start to elongate your breath, slowing it down, anchoring yourself to the present moment, to where we are right now. And the theme for today is joy. So one of the ways, little tiny ways that we can find joy is to find joy in our breath and just the present moment that we're in. So throughout the class, I will do my best to guide and remind you about that, but just coming back to our breath and finding the joy in the fact that we are here, we're breathing, and we're being. And that's a beautiful place to be in. So just continue to breathe, and I've got just a couple things to read. Life is a celebration to enjoy and be joyous here and now. A life well lived is to remember that every breath we take, every morning we wake, we have been given an incredible gift, one to celebrate, to honor, and to enjoy, even when it's not so easy. And then this was a little poem that I felt kind of like encompassed joy. It's called In Celebration of Morning Light. Come, my love, the morning light has found the mountain meadow. The sleepy grass yawns and stretches, nudged by love and kissed by rosy lips. Who would not want to awaken to such a love? A love like this is sweet and kind, soft and never rushed. Each morning it whispers with fresh breath to the silent grass, wake up, wake up. From joy you came, in joy you live, to joy you shall return again. And then the quote, the bottom quote on here is a Chinese proverb. It says, a bird does not sing because it has an answer. It sings because it has a song, which I love that. So, okay, so just real quickly with our breath, we've talked about this before, but Ujjayi breath is that breath where you inhale in through your nose, you exhale through your nose, but you can kind of feel it down the back of your neck, and it almost makes the sound of like a wave, like, so it's almost like you're pushing down. So think about taking a nice deep inhale in, and then it feels different than just a normal exhale. You're almost breathing down the back of your throat, and that's called Ujjayi breath. So let's just take a few minutes to do about 5 rounds of that, nice, long, and slow. I'm gonna just pin my video here for the recording. So nice, slow inhale, and then Ujjayi. And if you want, you can pull your shoulders up on the inhale and then roll them back down your chest on the exhale. Again, inhaling, pulling your shoulders up, exhaling back down. Inhaling up and exhaling down. And then let's reverse that. Inhaling up the back, exhaling forward. Inhaling up, exhaling forward. And inhaling up, exhaling forward. And just take your neck and let it gently roll side to side. Just at your own pace, bringing a little bit of movement into your neck. You can kind of leave your head on one side and just do a little nod to that side and to the other. And then you can also look over your left shoulder, inhaling, and then exhaling back through center, looking out over your right shoulder. And inhaling back to the left, and exhaling to the right. And one more time, inhaling to the left, dropping your chin down through the center and looking over here. All right, we're just going to start with some spinal warm-ups here. So just put your hands on your knees, and we're going to start with that Siri Om. So again, we're moving our spine in a circular direction and just sort of getting, let's say, getting the juices flowing. But depending on where you sit, you can feel it in your hips, you can feel it in your lower back. You could really make huge circles if you wanted to and get some movement in your upper chest and shoulders, or you could keep it small. And I'll let you know, and we'll reverse here. But this is just probably the first time you've maybe moved your spine in this direction all day here. So just pulling forward and exhaling back, inhaling forward and exhaling back. Do one more full round in this direction, and then we'll reverse. Inhaling forward and exhaling back. Just bringing some movement to the spine. Giving it a little bit of love here. One more full rotation through and then come back to center. Take a nice inhale, exhale your shoulders down, and we're gonna just do some side bends here. So take your left hand down and just raise your right arm and just bend in and lean. And you can either do a stagnant or you can do just a little bounce here. Just decide what feels good to you. Feeling that stretch alongside the right side of your body. And then let's bring both hands up, stretch overhead, just stretch, 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 look up if that feels okay on your neck, and come down on the other side, placing your right hand down, and just kind of reaching up and out like to the corner of the room. You can either leave it stagnant or you can do a little bounce. All right, and reach up, and we'll go back down to the left. And this time, take your right hand and just touch the floor at an angle and then come back. We're gonna open up our chest and then touch down at an angle, kind of bowing your head down and open up. Again, just go as far as feels comfortable to you. Yeah. And then one more time, touch down, and we're gonna stay down and just trace our fingers to the other side, placing our right hand down and our left hand at that angle, and then open up on that side. Down, up, down. Two more here. Down, and last one. And then just walk your fingers to the middle. And whatever's comfortable for you, like if you want to be on your fingertips and just a little bit of a forward fold, you could have your forearms down. Take a nice deep inhale and exhale. One more big inhale, exhale. And last inhale, walk your fingers up and sit up tall. And we'll just do a few seated cat-cows. So hands on your knees, and just press your chest forward as your chin comes out, and then round your spine into that cat. Press forward. And you can just go at your own pace. Again, we're getting some movement in all directions in our spine. And just shifting the energy. And this is something too, there is some people who will start to do this really quickly, like really quick like this, which it usually takes me a while to do that, but on your own, like especially in the morning, if you wanted to wake yourself up, and I can show you that in the regular cat cow, but adding a little more kind of speed, but still being safe, you could feel a difference in your energy too. So it depends on what you're in the mood for. But all right, and one more, inhaling forward, exhale, rounding, and then come to center. All right, and now we're gonna go on to hands and knees and just do a few cats and cows on hands and knees. So make sure that you are feeling really solid in your hand placement, that all 10 fingers are pressing. You can have your toes curled under or flat. You decide what you feel like. And take a nice inhalation as your belly goes down and your chest is out and your chin is up. And then exhale, rounding your back, your spine, letting your neck fall. And inhale, cow. And exhale into a cat. So just do this at your own pace. And if you want to go off kind of a little more free flow, feel free. You can mark your hips side to side. You can even kind of come back and sway back and forth for a lower back. You can come forward. We'll just take a few minutes here to explore and just see where you might need a little more movement, maybe where you might bring some breath and find a little bit of joy in your body. Take one more full round. Inhaling for a cow. Exhaling for a cat. And come to neutral. You're going to take your hands out to the top of the mat, and we're just going to kind of lean back into puppy pose. So your butt is lifted, your head can go on the ground, and you can wag your little tail back and forth and just feel that stretch and that pull. Some people may feel it in their shoulders, your hips. Take a nice inhalation and exhale. And then one more inhalation and exhale into child's pose. So bring your bum down to your, the floor. You can, I always like to have my knees open, but if your knees closed, go for it. And we're just going to take a minute to get grounded here. And so we'll just come back to that Ujjayi breath. Your hands can be straight, or we have some mats right there if you want to grab a mat. Or your hands can be like palms together over your head in a little shark fin, which for me right now, I have some shoulder problems, so that feels a little bit better. So, and just take a few moments here, breathing, inhaling in and exhaling with that Ujjayi breath. Kind of hearing that ocean sound through the back of your throat. Maybe taking a moment to think a little bit about one thing, one small thing today that brought you joy. And thinking about where we can find joy in everyday places and spaces. Take one more deep inhalation. And exhale, you can put your hands down, and we're going to come back to hands and knees. So we're going to start with our right leg is going to come back as straight behind us, toes tucked, and just seesaw back and forth, getting a little bit of a stretch in that calf and those hips. Your hands are directly underneath your shoulders, your fingers are pressed in, and come to stillness. You're going to engage your core and lift that right leg so that it's parallel to the ground. Really feel your chest and shoulder straight. And if you would like to, you can lift your left arm up. And you can either look down at the ground or you can look out in front of you and just see how that might change. Taking in a nice inhalation and exhale. One more inhalation and exhale. Put that down. And we'll do the other side. So take your left leg back, toes tucked, and seesaw back and forth, getting a little bit of movement and stretching that calf. And then come to stillness and lift that left leg, having it parallel. Toes tucked down. And one of the things I like, if I really think about it, I usually have to turn my hip over because I have it opened up to the side. So just thinking about having your all 5 toes pointed down, really engaging that core, and then inhaling, lifting the right arm. And just thinking about a straight line shooting out from your right arm to your left foot, inhaling in, exhaling. Last inhale and exhale down. All right, so we're going to do a side gate pose. So we'll be off the mat a teeny tiny bit, but take your right leg out to the side and your toes. I like to have my toes pointed forward, but if that feels weird to you, you can always turn them out there. So we're getting a stretch in this inner thigh here, and we're going to walk our hands up, put our hands on our hips. You can have your toes tucked or flat, whatever feels good to you. Your left hand is down, and we're going to lean over to the side in this direction and just feel that stretch through that side, opening your chest up. Again, you can look up or look down. It depends on where your neck is here. And then raise that left arm to the side. We're gonna bring that hand down. And if you want to, you can lift this leg here. So you can stay with it down or you can lift it up. Again, we wanna engage our core when we're doing this. We're working on some balance and some inner thigh work here. Take one more inhalation, exhale back down. And we're just gonna kind of fold forward a little bit. So take your fingers and walk them out. You can either leave your hands up like this, or if it feels good for you, you can go on your forearms and it's kind of a little bow forward. Now, I like movement here, a little seesawing back and forth. It might feel better for you to stay stagnant. So you decide what feels good for you. And just feeling that stretch in your inner thighs, possibly. Again, coming back to our breath, inhaling and exhaling. And then just bring that right leg in under, right next to your left leg, and just come back into a little child's pose for a minute here. Taking a breath. And exhaling. And then inhale back up, and we're going to do that on the other side. So take your left leg out to the side. Again, toes can be pointing forward or to the side. Just sort of feel where that is and walk your hands back, hands on your hips. And left arm goes down, right arm above. A nice rainbow stretch over our head. Take a nice inhalation here and exhale that right arm down to the ground. And you can stay here, or if you want a little balance challenge, you can lift that left leg up so that it's parallel to the ground. And hold that here for one whole inhalation. And exhale back down. And then we'll just come back forward here. Again, you can stay just leaning like this, or if you want to come down, you can come down on your forearms and just either stay still, or you can do a little rocking motion back and forth. All right, and then bring that left leg back in and tuck your toes under, and we're going to come into a downward facing dog. So just take a few moments here to bend one leg and the other. You can adjust to your hand positioning. See what that feels like if you bring your hands back, one whole hand, bring them forward. Really just take a few moments to figure out what your body needs today. Wiggle your hips a little bit. You can look under one armpit, look under the other, shake your head yes, shake your head no. Just take a moment to connect back to your breath, connect back to your joy. And then just gently crisscross your feet and walk your feet to the top of the mat so that you're in a forward fold. Your feet can be together or they can be hips distance apart. Really feeling grounded in the 4 points of your feet. And we're just gonna kind of sway here a little bit in a forward fold. So you can have your elbows clasp each other. It's nice to have a slight bend in your knee, especially this is the first time we're really doing a forward fold today. So the more you bend your knee, the more stretch you get in the low back. So if you are having low back issues, like the bent knees really are going to help stretch that out. The more you straighten your legs, you'll get stretch in the hamstrings at the back there. But you can shake your head and just sway like a little willow tree here for a moment. take a moment of stillness, inhaling deeply and exhaling. And at your next inhalation, just slowly roll up, vertebrae by vertebrae. And we're going to take our hands up over our head, stretch our hands to the sky, put your palms together and hands at heart center. So just take a moment here to just notice how different you might feel since when you first came in. And we're just going to do a few sun salutations to kind of warm up a little bit. So I'll talk you through it, but really with the sun salutations, the biggest thing is like inhaling on one move, exhaling on another. And if you're off, you're off. It doesn't really matter. So we're going to inhale, hands up, exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, exhale, forward fold. Inhale, step back to a plank or a half plank. And we'll just stay here for one full inhalation. And exhale, knees, chest, chin down to the mat. Inhale up into a baby cobra. Exhale back down. Inhale back up either to a plank or hands and knees, and exhale back up to a downward dog. So we'll just do a few more of those. You can inhale, stepping up to the front of the mat. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, roll all the way up, hands up above our heads. Exhale, hands to the center. Inhale, hands up. Exhale, all the way down, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, step back to a plank or half plank. Hold for a breath. And exhale down to the mat. Inhale to a baby cobra or a cobra. Exhale down. Inhaling, hands and knees or plank. Exhale, downward facing dog. Just take a moment here in downward facing dog. And we'll do one more of those. So inhale, stepping up to the top of the mat, and exhale into that forward fold. Inhale, roll all the way up, hands above your head. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhaling up and exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale down. Inhale back to plank or half plank. Hold. Exhale down to the mat. Inhale, baby cobra or cobra. Exhale back down. Inhale up to plank or hands and knees, and exhale back to downward facing dog. All right, we'll just take a moment here. Just to get connected back to our breath and a little bit of joy that our breath brings. Inhale, lifting your right leg behind you, toes pointed down. And then exhale, bring that knee forward and place it down into a low lunge. So your back knee is down, your front knee is up. Your hands can be here at your side. So actually, let's do this. Sorry, go back with your hands here on the ground. And what you're going to do is you're going to make your hands into fists and kind of slowly come back and pull back. And I'm almost like when I'm I'm pulling with my hands, but I'm almost feeling it in this part of my body. And so like round your shoulders back. Inhale here. And now take your hands back and around and just making a circle. And you can leave your hands in fists or they can come out. We're getting a little shoulder rotation here. And then let's just go the other direction. And if you have knee issues, you can always roll the mat under, or I have some blankets there. And last one. All right, and now we're gonna lean back into a halfway split. So fingertips or hands on the earth, a slight bend in that right leg, chest is shining forward, and just lean forward to feel that stretch. You can also have a little movement in here. So if that feels good, you could just do a little up and down bounce. And then come back up onto those, the front knee, hands down, and we're just gonna lift that back knee for a low lunge. And again, you can have some movement back and forth if you want to get a little different stretch. Planting your hands down, step your right foot back into a plank. We're just gonna hold here for 5. You can have a half plank too. 4, 3, 2, 1, up back into downward facing dog. Beautiful. All right, we'll do that on the other side. So lift your left leg up into a 3-legged dog, toes pointing down. Inhale and exhale, pull that knee forward and step your foot up, lowering your back knee. And we're gonna take our hands into fists and slowly pull back, pull ourselves up, really engaging our core, feeling our spine straight, and then we'll do some circles back around, get our shoulders moving. And then we'll go back in the opposite direction. Great, all right, and then just fingertips to the floor and lean back into that half splits. Again, slight bend in the knee. Chest is lifted, leaning forward. Again, if you want a little bit of movement in there. And then come forward on that left foot, plant your hands and lift that right knee into that low lunge. Just feeling the strength, really scissoring those legs in the middle there. Inhale and exhale back to plank. And then inhale back down to downward facing dog. Okay, so I sort of prepped people, we're gonna do a wild thing or a flipped dog. So if you've never done this before, the reason we're doing it is because the theme is joy, and this is supposedly a pose that brings joy. So I will walk you through it, but if you need to like watch me, if you've never done it before, you can go ahead and watch me. So you start in downward dog, and we will lift our right leg. And so you lift it in that 3-legged dog, and basically we're gonna flip over. So I'm turning towards my left, and then I plant that right foot down. So looking at the video here. So then so essentially, let's see if I do it this way. So you're here and you lift up the one foot and you just kind of make it circle around and plant. And then you're in a table. So you can, and then you can actually, and let's see, if I'm on, see, this is the part when I do the backwards and forwards thing. Let's just stay like this. And then you can do it like you're on your right arm, and you can have both legs bent, or you can have your left leg out straight and kind of lean back like a, like a rainbow. And that is supposed to feel joyous. So then come back down and sit your butt on the ground, and just tuck in your right leg. And we'll breathe through that. I'll have to work on my cueing for that one here. All right, we'll lean over to our right leg and come back to center. Okay, now I have to remember what side did I do it on if we're gonna try it on the other side. Do you guys remember what side you did it on? I'm trying to think of now that I messed it up here. Okay, I lifted my left. So come back to a downward facing dog and then lift your right leg And you're gonna just take, like, twist and take it and land so that you kind of are in this reverse, perfect tabletop, yes. So you can just stay like this, or if you keep that right arm up, you can put your right arm straight and almost make like an arc between your, sort of stretching from your right leg to your right arm. And just taking in a breath, and then you're just gonna like push back over into that downward dog. Whew. All right, let's sit back. Let's sit down here for a sec. I wanted to do it. I wasn't sure I could cue everybody. So we will tuck in that other foot and then just take a nice stretch over on that side. All right, and then bring your legs back forward here in front. And lift your arms up to the sky and fold forward. So wherever your hands come is great. And just relax into this. So don't feel like you have to, you just sort of melt your body into this forward fold. And take some nice deep breaths, breathing through the backs of your legs, your lower back, your shoulders. Slowly roll up to seated and bring your feet together into that butterfly or cobbler's pose position. And you can have, see how it feels like. You can pull your feet close or you can have it further out. It's just going to be depending on what kind of stretch you want. And for this one, we're going to try to keep our chest lifted. So grab a hold of your feet or your ankles and just lean forward, but thinking about like your collarbone shining forward. So instead of rounding, we're keeping a flat back and just leaning forward. And you can even use your elbows to sort of push into your knees if that feels good. Take a nice deep inhalation and exhale, come up to seated, and we're going to lay flat on our backs here. Do just a couple more little stretches before we finish it up. So we're going to do just a small bridge pose. If you bring your ankles back toward your bottom, your hands are palms facing down, and you're just going to slowly lift your bottom and then lift your spine vertebrae by vertebrae so that your shoulders are on the ground, your feet are on the ground. You can adjust your feet so that you don't feel like any kind of tweak or twerk in your back. And just hold here for 3, 2, 1, and then slowly reverse your spine down from the top to the middle to the bottom. Feeling your hips just heavy in the earth. And we'll do that one more time, rolling up from your hips, your lower back, your middle back, all the way so that your shoulders are the last things. Hands are down. If you want more of a shoulder stretch, you can clasp your hands underneath your back if you're wanting more of a shoulder stretch. Just engage that core. Take one more deep inhalation and exhale all the way down, vertebrae by vertebrae. Bring your knees into your chest and give them a nice little hug. And just roll side to side. You can grab a hold of your knees and just do little circles with your knees. You can feel it on your lower back. And take a hold of your left knee and pull that in and straighten your right leg out. So you're hugging in that left knee and you're just going to pull that left knee over to the left side of your body. Over to the right side of your body. Sorry about that. And then you're going to look out. Your left arm is out. If you can with your neck, you can look out over the left. You can also just keep your neck looking straight up. You can have as much pressure on your knee or as little pressure as you want. Take one more deep inhalation, exhale, and then inhale, come back to center, hugging in both your knees again, little rock back and forth. Then hug in your right knee, straighten out your left leg and pull that right knee over to the left side. Putting your right arm out to the side, you can look out over your right shoulder. Or you can look up just straight ahead. And then bring your knees back to center. A little wiggle here. Any last movements you might need before allowing both your legs to come down if that's comfortable. And your hands, you could have one hand on your belly and one on your heart, or you could have your hands out at your sides with your palms open in a posture of receiving, coming back to that kind of idea and concept of joy and where we might be able to find joy in the small moments that we have each day. So we're just going to take a few moments in silence, just a couple minutes, to let our movement sort of settle and integrate. Just to give ourselves the gift of just a little bit of presence and time. Reduced to joy. I was sipping coffee on the way to work, the back road under a canopy of maples turning orange. In the dip of woods, a small doe gently leaping. I pulled over, for there was nowhere else to go. She paused as if she knew I was watching. A few orange leaves fell around her like blessings no one can seem to find. I sipped some coffee, completely at peace, knowing it wouldn't last. But that's all right. We never know when we will blossom into what we are supposed to be. It might be early, it might be late. It might be after 30 years of failing at a misguided way, or the very first time we dare to shed our mental skin and touch the world. They say, if real enough, some see God at the moment of their death. But isn't every fall and letting go a death? Isn't God waiting right now in the chill between the small doe's hoof and those fallen leaves? And then the author of this is Mark Nepo, and he wrote, if any of this speaks to you, Then go outside and wander and listen and wait. Let life know you are looking for connections. Let others know that you are ready to learn. Don't hide your eagerness to be touched by the fragments of the world. Collect their small histories and let them join with your own. So just take a moment to wiggle your fingers and your toes and bring some small movements back to your body. You can just kind of rock your hips a little bit, circle your wrists or your ankles, maybe give yourself a nice big cat stretch with your toes pointing in one direction and your arms in another. And just take a moment whenever you're ready to turn to one side or another and just take a moment or two on the side, kind of in that little bit of that fetal position. This is sort of the like reawakening and rebirth from what we just did. Giving yourself a little bit of gratitude for showing up here and giving yourself some time and space to connect with your breath and with your spirit. And when you're ready, you can just gently push yourself up and join me in a nice, comfortable seat. And I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart for joining me. The light and love and darkness in me honors and loves the light and love and darkness in each of you. So thank you for sharing this space with me today. Namaste. Yay. Thanks for trying the wild thing, even though I did not cue it well. I will work on that. I will. I know it is wild. It's a fun one. And I really did, I even watched, I did a couple of classes where they did it. And I'm like, it's still just one of those that now I know how to do it. I can just do it. So it's like a weird thing. So thank you, Karen. Have a good night.